Hey, Sony actually responded. Well, kind of. They put out a few messages today, and this, of course, after about 5 days of them being on a social media hiatus, specifically on Twitter. They were posting on places like YouTube and such, and it wasn't going well there. So we figured when they came back to Twitter and started advertising again, probably wasn't going to go great, and that's actually what did happen. But we'll take a look at that here today, as well as what is pretty obvious right now, and that Sony has a communication problem. So if you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Now, real quick, of course, this is all about, as you can see here, PlayStation blog, physical disc production ending in January 2028 for new games, releasing on PlayStation consoles. It was about 3 paragraphs. This was just written up pretty quickly by Sid Schumann, had his name on it, sent it out into the ether, and that's the last time they've made any mention of this at all. And that does kind of play into their communication problems right now, but it's very, very Sony now, very PlayStation, very sterile, I guess is what you can say. But they've basically left it like that. Again, for the last 5 days, they have said nothing on Twitter. They just left that up, and since then, that one tweet accumulated more than like 160 million views. I mean, tons of responses. It did eclipse many big events that have happened in gaming, which includes like the Switch 2 full reveal, the GTA 6, that trailer 1. So this is a big thing online right now, and it's hard to ignore. Apparently, unless you're PlayStation, because like they have their PlayStation account, of course, that they post everything on. And the most recent thing that they came back to social media with was the Flex Strike wireless fight stick. Now, the fight stick itself we've already known about. It's $200. I guess it looks all right. I'm not a big fighting game person, so I'm not here to tell you if the stick is good or not. I mean, it looks kind of interesting. It says you can switch out lever gates with ease on the Flex Strike wireless fight stick here. I think it looks pretty good. I know it's wired and wireless. I don't know if wireless is generally accepted, we'll say, in the fighting game community. I assume that the idea of it being wired with lower latency is what most people want to do. But either way, this is what they came back to social media with, a fight stick. By the way, this might now be the most viewed fight stick advertisement we've ever seen. 18.8 million views on this thing. Yeah, and 59,000 replies and like 9,700 likes. It's not going well is the point necessarily. And look, there's even 5,100 bookmarks, which I assume are people who are just hate watching and want to come back and see what happens. But from here, people have been, of course, going crazy, posting all kinds of stuff on here. Don't ignore physical products, physical discs, etc. I even had to throw in a little jab there because I don't know, it's funny. It's a whole thing right now, so why not? Let's have some fun. But so with that, people again on PlayStation right now, they continue to post throughout the day. We also had this one here where they decided to tell us about the PlayStation Plus monthly games for July. Again, we already knew about them. This is just them telling us that they are now available. So Modern Warfare 3, For the King 2, Crosscode. Crosscode, good game. Okay, again, I know there's a lot of strife online around Sony right now with this. Crosscode, worth checking out, actually. This one also did not go well. I mean, 2.2 million views. If nothing else, if Sony is Seymour Skinner in the field going, are the kids wrong or am I wrong? At least they look at this and go, wow, people really are interested in our stuff right now. More than 2 million views on this. I mean, the fact that the Flex Strike wireless fight stick has more than 18 million views, that is probably the most viewed fight stick, yes. So Sony, if they're looking at glass half full, they have a lot of interest in their brand right now. Is that good interest, though? I think that's the real question at this point, because something that I think is certain, Sony kind of has a communication problem right now. And I've talked about how Microsoft talks too much. Sony really doesn't talk enough, and when they do, man, it seems like it's bad news. I mean, if you think about it, they'll show up on PlayStation blog and they tell us about how prices are going up on the console. Prices are going up on PlayStation Plus, right? Physical discs are going away to start 2028, and then assumedly means that the PS6 will be a digital-only system, which is a system that's already kind of started behind the 8 ball because it's probably going to be very, very expensive. Again, we're kind of estimating around $1,000. Could be more. If Sony can somehow pull off a miracle and make it like $800, that would be legitimately impressive. And that's sad, but that's just kind of where we are right now. It's like crossing our fingers for an $800 base system for a generation. But the point is, Sony can't seem to figure out a way to talk with the PlayStation community any longer, the PlayStation fans. And it does feel like because of this, they're kind of detached from the fan base. And I do think this announcement around physical disc production ending in January 2028 is sort of a result of that. And some have asked, is arrogant Sony back? It does kind of feel that way. It feels like that, yeah, they can drop what is I think a massive piece of news, something that absolutely shifts just the overall shape of the gaming industry, and then just kind of move along. 3 paragraphs, that's that, and then they keep going, and you can see just the chaos online right now. I mean, the internet around PlayStation is on fire, but they're just going about it business as usual right now, and part of that with the arrogant Sony side is they just assume you're going to buy the PlayStation 6, which, again, already behind the 8 ball, but they don't have to talk about it, I guess, for another, I don't know, 6 months or so. Definitely when they start up 2027, if it's coming out holiday 27, they'll start talking about it because GDC will happen, and if nothing else, then it'll get out there, right? We'll see that that dev kit picture pop up online randomly. It looks like a pizza oven or space station. But still, Sony does need to figure out how to communicate with their fan base again. They don't have, you could say, a Shuhei Yoshida or Sean Layden or somebody to go out there or even kind of convey messages through advertising with like a Kevin Butler character. They just don't really have that anymore. And Jim Ryan, he, at least when he showed up at the start of the PlayStation 5 generation, he was a presence. You know, he was there. It's like, okay, we believe in generations. People were excited about that. It kind of fell apart as they went along, like obviously hindsight now. And you really can't look at Herman Holst any longer because it seems like everyone wants Herman Holst to get fired now with everything that's happened throughout this generation. And Nishino, I mean, he's kind of an unknown. I guess you could put him up behind the podium and say, hey, explain what's happening. And people at least won't have a long history to go on with him like they do with Herman Holst or like they would with the Jim Ryan. But that's kind of a problem for Sony right now. They've lost a lot of their personality that sort of got them to this point. They was able to reverse course after what happened at the start of the PS3 generation and really take off during the PS4 generation. All of that's kind of gone at this point, and they're left with not much, I guess, at least in the way of personality and public facing. PlayStation, still successful. They tell us about it all the time. But eventually they will get to a point where they have to compare to the PlayStation 5 generation from the PlayStation 6 generation. And that to me is where the arrogant Sony could end up biting them. So what could Sony do at this point? Well, they can absolutely continue ignoring the situation. And look, I say ignoring, there is a possibility that right now, because of all the backlash, they are trying to figure out a compromise or, yes, how to reverse course completely. But because I think their entire next generation is based around the idea of it being all digital at this point, it takes a little longer for the ship to turn, all right? Like, it's not going to happen immediately. So it's possible that, yes, they are working this out. And what we are seeing right now are scheduled tweets that they were already going to go out at that time, like how you see the fight stick, 9 a.m. my time on the dot. Yeah, it's probably a scheduled tweet. They had the video all set up. But we'll really know as we go along and we get 2 weeks removed, 3 weeks removed, a month removed. Then it's like, oh, wow. They're really going to see if they can just I guess weather the storm and get through this and see if people kind of tire out and just go, you know what, I guess that's that, and then figure out what to do from there. Now, the other possibility is that Sony will actually reverse course, and maybe, so I think one of the hangups is, of course, the retail presence. It's like, look, we want codes to be at retail. We don't really want to have disc-based media there any longer. So maybe Sony goes, you know what? We'll continue to produce PlayStation 5 discs on Blu-ray, right? We'll do that beyond 2028. But you have to order through PlayStation Direct. Now, for me, I don't actually mind that as much because I'll order games through Amazon and they never get to me on release day. Is that just me? They always show up the following week. It happened with Star Fox on the Switch too. It's like, oh, great, I'll order it. Oh, it's going to be here on release day, Thursday. And then I get it the following Tuesday. I'm not sure why. I get the email the day before or something. It's like, hey, it's running late. But PlayStation Direct, when I do order from there, like the PlayStation Portal, for example, it gets there not only on release day, but usually the morning of release day. So I actually would have a fair amount of confidence ordering it directly from Sony for something like this. And maybe that's a way to still support, we'll say, the enthusiast physical media crowd who does want to buy their PlayStation discs like outright. But I've got to say, it's certainly a choice to show up after everything that's happened with a tweet talking about a fight stick. Is this really the way Sony wants to go with all of this? Just every time they want to advertise a game, it's a fight in the comments, and it's community note after community note about how they're ending physical game production. I don't know if that's the way forward for them, but that's, I guess, what we're going to find out as we go along. Is it going to be weeks, months of all of this? I guess we'll see. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below in the comments. Were you surprised that they showed up with a fight stick to end their 5-day hiatus from social media? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.